Hello everyone, my name is Carlos and I'm going to talk about assessments, types and tasks. First of all, I'm going to explain the difference between formal and informal testing. We call formal testing to assessments such as public examinations, but also to end of unit or end of course test. The most important characteristics of formal testings are that formal tests are very often written but can have a spoken listening element. Formal tests are not frequent and formal tests are usually quite objective. Alright, now let's see informal testing. And well, it happens frequently in classrooms. It normally doesn't follow the same structured format as formal testing. Some of the most important characteristics of informal testing are that can be anything from a simple question to a complicated role play. Requires the teacher and the learners to evaluate rather than assess by recording marks. Does not rely on outcomes being given to the learners, although feedback is often supplied somehow. Now I'm gonna explain the difference between summative and formative testing. Summative testing is what happens at the end of a process. These assessments are designed to discover how well the targets of the course have been learned. Examples are a public examination and an end of course written test, a final speaking exercise in a lesson, and homework tasks. On the other hand, formative testing happens quite frequently because it is normally done at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the lessons. It can be formal or informal and is designed to aid the learning process by achieving these two goals. Number one, telling the teacher what has been learned well so far and what needs more work. And number two, focusing learners on what they have learned and what needs to be learned. Now I'm gonna explain what a valid test is. It is important to remember that a test can be formative or it can be summative. The process to create a valid test can be as follows. Decide what to test, prioritize the list, divide the list into skills and structures, select the test item types for each area, and invent a fair marking system. Now I'm gonna give an explain of these test items. Alternative answer. An alternative plan or offer is different from the one that you already have and can be done or used instead. For example, to change an instrument to obtain data in educational research or a test. Now, multiple choice. Multiple choice is sometimes called a fixed response tense. Typically, the correct answer must be chosen from 3 or 4 alternatives. Structure response. Structure response in tests of this sort, we give a structure in which to form the answer. And well, tests which ask students to write a text but also to include a number of given points are also structured response tests and oral tests in which students are asked to give and get a limited and specific amount of data are also structured response tests. Free response. Free response in this test, no guidance is given other than the instructions, and the learners are free to write or say what they like. A hybrid form of this and structured response item is one where the subject is given a list of things to include in the response. And now I'm going to mention what factors make the test marking more or less subjective. Well, when we mention the term marking, we are talking about exam scoring, grading and evaluating. This means the process we follow to determine how well the students did in the test and if they failed or passed it. The more subjective the marking is, the less reliable the results will be.